to Copperhead Kustoms. Today we are back on this, our 1948 Bedford Hot Wheels Legends Tour $2,000 budget build. And today we're doing a couple of trick little pieces that I'm sure you guys will like, so stick around to see what they are. So yes, like I said, this is our 1948 Bedford that we are attempting to build for $2,000. And then we're going to enter it into next year's Hot Wheels Legends Tour. And a quick recap, quick recap for the new viewers. So when we bought this, it had been sitting in the middle of a paddock for multiple years and had been used by the farmers' kids as target practice. It had been left there to rot away. It had no wheels, no suspension, a motor that was pretty much locked up, and no windows or nothing. So we brought it home, decided to build it, and the first thing we did was give it a haircut by chopping 6 inches out of the roof. So as you can see, it's still all beat up and bullet holed, and that's how we wanted it. That's the way I like it. We then decided we would clear coat it, but doing it differently, we added 3 different pearlescent paints over 3 different layers. The results are amazing, and we now have this greenish patinaed paint that goes from green to purple to gold. We then mounted it to a WB Holden panel van chassis, but we chopped 2 foot out of the middle, 8 inches off the back, and 8 inches off the front. Back to the front! We made this custom tray out of an old pallet, and we burnt in our logo, and we did the same on the running boards. We Frenched in our taillights, the cheapest ones we could find, into this original piece of timber. We used stainless truck guards and matching miniature truck mirrors and painted the rims to match. We used dog dishes to make these headlights, office chairs for the seats, an old bamboo fence, a heap of advertisement signs, and an old shovel. So as you can see, we have come quite a long way from where this began. Now we've also rebuilt all the front suspension, bushes, ball joints, you name it, it's been done in there. We've mounted our new radiator and thermo. We've just put our exhaust manifold extractors system on, etc. And we are getting very close. But today we're going to do a couple of decorative pieces here, say. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a new air filter cover, something a little bit trick, and a radiator overflow bottle. Now the pieces we're going to make should be 1, very good looking, 2, quite simple to make, and 3, something anyone can basically do at home on a Sunday afternoon quite easily. But they're gonna look wicked. So with all the formalities now done, sit back and enjoy what we are about to create. Okay, so the first thing we're going to mess around with is we're going to make a air cleaner. Now I have a heap of these air cleaner tops and stuff, so there's already one on the car, but we'll just grab another one to make this one up. Now this is a bit of an antique. This is an aluminium hard hat that I got off of one of the building sites back in the day, and it was an American had come over to Australia to work and brought this aluminium hard hat and had left it on the job. And I really liked it, so I took it home. I've had this sitting in the shed for years and years and years. It's very lightweight. As you can see, it is aluminium. I just painted it black. So my plan is I'm going to turn this into our air cleaner. So we're going to mount that to our air cleaner top, and I think it should look pretty good. But what I also did, so you could use anything for this. Now I know over here in Australia, in America you would have these all the time. In Australia we don't normally have this shape, but they've started to come out. Now they're only plastic, not aluminium, but it wouldn't really matter if it's plastic or not. Now you get these and they're all been hydro dipped, and you could do that, you could paint it, you could do whatever you want. Now I'm going to make it look a bit like an army helmet. So we are going to, now this little spike was on eBay, it was like $2 or $3, and it was something that they use, like punks use to decorate their shoes or their belts or something. Maybe they stick them on their forehead, for God knows, or who knows. But that will work pretty well. There's a little spike on the top of there, I'm thinking. So we will drill a little hole in here for that. That's one little job we'll do. Now we do have the options of doing like a camo paint on this. We could potentially do a green camo or maybe a black grey camo. But I honestly, looking at the car, think it will probably work better to just have it black. we'll probably have it just nice satin black. And what I'm thinking of in the mounting it, what we will do is we'll cut all of this old worn out structure out, and what I'm thinking is we will just basically have that probably screwed in with a like a tech screw type arrangement. So what we'll do is we'll basically have the air filter bolted together, and then it will get screwed from that way is what I'm thinking, and it will sit on like that. So pretty simple stuff, but it should be quite effective by the end. So first job we'll do is we'll get all this out, we'll give all these a nice coat of paint, we'll drill our holes, we'll put it together and see what it looks like. Oakley dokley. So as you've seen, we drilled a couple of holes in there, and we've got our two little tech screws that we'll paint black cut down with the grinder. So they're going to go in like that. So what will happen is we'll bolt the air cleaners together normally first, then we'll screw this onto the top. So it should be simple. We've got our spike on, as you can see. Now we painted it all black, and we went to give it another coat, and then I hummed and hawed and said, I'll tell you, let's do it camo. So we did the camo, and as you can see, we were throwing it on thick and just layering it and layering it and layering it. And I think we had a pretty good looking camo in the end there, but I stuck it on the car and I didn't really like it. It didn't really suit the engine bay. So I've given it a coat of black. Now I did just give it a bit of a light coat first, and you could see through it, and then I went a bit heavier, but you can still see because it's so wet, the camo is bleeding through a little bit. Now we'll see what we think tomorrow when it's all dried. We may actually even patina this back a little bit, sort of age it, and then have a bit of the camo filtering through the black. I'm not really sure as yet of how I want it to look, but it's basically done now. We just got to let the paint dry and then assemble it and bolt it on. Now with these ones, as you can see, we're doing it this way because these ones actually get clamped onto the carby. Okay, so very simple stuffs, and we got some overspray on this, but who cares, honestly. So there's that. Just put that over there out the way. Now our next job that we're going to do though is we're going to make a radiator overflow bottle, and you've probably seen these done before with a skull bottle. Now of course we've got some skulls around the headlights and etc. So I thought a skull bottle, now these are sometimes vodka but sometimes just plain. So what my plan is on this is we're going to try to do something a little bit trick. So we're going to cut a base out basically in this sort of shape for a base, and then we're going to weld a little lip, probably 1/2 inch maybe, weld a little lip around that this sort of sits in. Okay, so that was in. We'll probably put a little piece of rubber or foam or something in the bottom so it's not banging around on metal. Okay, so that will sit in this little tiny base that we make up. Now that base will come back and will be part of our mount. We'll have a little leg that comes back, and I'm thinking maybe I had a couple of options. One was to get a little piece of pipe that slid over here with a leg going back, or another one is that we make this like an L shape, and then we do something trick in here like a gusset. We make it like a spider web or a curve or something. We do something like there as a gusset, and it gets mounted. We just have the bottom mount, and then what I'm thinking of doing is getting some copper brake line and running it around the top spout, maybe bringing it down on the sides or something, maybe squashing it, drilling a hole in it and mounting it in. I don't know. So we'll come up with something tomorrow, but that's what I'm thinking. I think I'm using a bit of copper on it, and then what we'll do is we'll drill two little holes in our cork top here. We'll have a line in and then a little line out is what I'm thinking. Who knows what we're going to come up with. So anyway, it's Sunday, Easter Sunday, and it's getting late in the afternoon, so I am going to go inside, and we'll see you tomorrow. Oakley dokley, we are back, and this is what we've made so far. So if we have a look here, we had our base plate that we did in the shape of the skull, and we've left like a, I don't know, 3 or 4 mil bigger than the base of the skull, and then we've welded this piece on around, bent that in and around and welded that, fully welded it. So that will sit in there like that. Okay, so you can see the little gap around the bottom. We put a bit of RHS on the back, welded that on, welded a piece of flat bar on there, and we've drilled a couple of holes in that. I think what we'll do is we will weld, I was going to bolt it, but I think it will probably be easier to just weld it onto this, is what I'm thinking. Be very difficult. We could do it, it'd be very difficult to put the bolts on. It could be done though, it could be done. So I'll hum and haw what I think, whether I want to bolt it on or weld it on, but I'm just thinking I might just weld it on while the welder's out. So that will get mounted onto there, and we can pick whatever height we want the head to be at. Simple simples, yes? Simples! And then we made the little spider web. So we had an old hook, like an extension lead hook or whatever, that we did them, and these are just done with the welding wire, all welded up. And then what we're going to do is, we've got to do our copper piece on the top, and I'm thinking of, in here I was going to put black rubber in, but I'm thinking maybe I'll use black silicone and silicone it in, sit it in there, it won't come out, it'll be rubber mounted basically, and then we can do our copper and just basically run our copper underneath. That's what I'm sort of headed at, so that's what I'm thinking. It's all ground down ready, so it needs to be painted. We need to silicone it up, and we need to do our copper. Okay, so then here's our other piece, our helmet, and we'll have a proper look at it later. But what we did is we patinaed the black, and now you can see we've got all of this camo that we did yesterday just peeling through a little bit, and I actually think that's pretty good because we're still kind of black to match our black and gold motor. But then we come in here and we've got a bit of the green to go with that. Now I'll get the light going later on. We've got that lead on the welder, and we'll show you under lights a bit better. But I think it blends pretty good now because it blends in with the cab and it blends in with the motor. So I think that's pretty cool. Any rate, let's continue. Oakley dokley. So there we go. This is what we have created. See what our spider web down there. Beautiful. And we have our bottle with our copper wound around it. I think that looks pretty trick actually, the little copper piece. And then as you can see, we've got our radiator overflow hose coming down, and that comes in and goes down to the bottom. It's pretty hard to see in there, but there's a black pipe in there that goes right down into the bottom, into the front here. And then we have a little short one that's about here, that just comes up and over, and it runs down over down to there. And then we've got our cork put in, and what we've done is we've put a bit of silicone on the top of our cork, so that's sealed up, and it's not bad, is it? So it looks pretty good. And then the copper, we actually squashed the edges of the copper, and this is siliconed in, so it's like rubber mounted as well, and it will hold it. And then the little copper is shoved into that silicone, so that should hold up pretty well. And then we've got our spider web. So all in all, I think that turned out pretty good, quick and easy. And then we've got our helmet over here. We'll come around the other side. And this is what we did for our air cleaner. So you can see now the colouring. So it's still got the black. When you stand back here, it's still black, goes in with the motor, but you've got all this green camo underneath, which then, see that, transpires into the background a bit. So I don't actually mind that what we did in the end. We picked the middle ground. I think that looks not too bad. Would have been nice to get the helmet to cover the whole cleaner, but like we did on the other one, but you would have had a monster. Now, remembering that is a hard hat, but it kind of looks like an army helmet. So all in all, I think it turned out pretty good. And from over here, our little, now remembering I don't have any green coolant, but that will be half filled, 3/4 filled with green coolant, or blue or orange, whatever we decide to put in it. So that should look pretty trick, I think. Now, probably a lot of people have done the skull bottles in the past, but when you then go for the headlights, hey, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. So we're just going to leave it at that this week. We're going to do a short, sharp and shiny. Yes, we're going to do a little quick one. I'm going to have a couple of days off for once, and I don't know what we're going to do in the next one. We'll do more. But with all that said, I'm going to say thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.